Hello, everyone. My name is Elisa Hecker. Some of you might know me. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at Axle.ai. We're going to be doing a webinar today on AI for media. And we have our CEO, Sam Bosch, here, as well as our VP of Product, Patrice Gutevelle, who are going to be presenting. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation in the Q&A or in the chat. We're going to be answering some of them via chat and some of them live, and we're going to make sure that we leave some minutes at the end specifically for any final questions. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Sam.
Thanks, Elisa, and thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully it'll be a lively session. We had a very lively one this morning, tons of questions, and it was a great experience for everybody, and we managed to answer all the questions as well as get through our material. So we're Axle.ai, and we do AI-powered MAM, basically software for searching and managing large amounts of video content using AI and machine learning. And we have had a ton of interest in these webinars, but also in our product recently. I think the underlying trend is clear that AI has become a huge thing, not only inside our industry, but really in the global economy. It's really increasing the profile of both AI and media. So the intersection of those two things is really blowing up. Just for fun, on Tuesday, there were a bunch of headlines that I thought were noteworthy. This is just from one day. And so I grabbed them and just put them here on a slide. Very high-powered new video editing platform with AI built in. YouTube videos can now be searched by Google's BARD engine. Meta announced their own video generative tool set. A bunch of cool new research work. All of this is just one day's press releases. The rate at which I think this segment is attracting people's attention is accelerating. Now, we've been Axle.ai since 2018. Our mission is a little more focused, where we're really about repurposing and managing your content. We're not in the generative AI space yet. And I think it's likely that there's enough content out there being generated by enough people that it's going to keep us busy for the conceivable future. We're a 20-something person company. We've been growing quite a bit over the years. What I'll be doing is just kind of talking a little bit about how it fits into the broader AI context. So the other big trend, apart from obviously the intersection of AI and media, is that turnaround times for media are shrinking dramatically. It used to be that when you shot something, you would edit it, you would finish it up, you would send it off, and that process would take months. Then that got crunched down to weeks, and more recently, with the increasing power of social media, these turnaround times are measured in hours. You know, the marketing department will give you a call and say, hey, we need something showing the CEO saying the following catchphrase, blah, blah, blah. And it's all like quick, and you have to be able to find the relevant footage and then repurpose it very quickly. So that is also driving the need for these better search tools, of course. And it's our thesis that all video is going to be searchable over the next few years. Today, it may be searchable in theory, but 99.9% of it is not searchable. It's either sitting on hard drives on the shelf, or it's on your network, but you have only a folder structure to guide you. And it seems like the amount is exploding, and the tools for managing it have not kept up. But we think the next few years are going to be really crucial in applying all this new AI power to the media that's already been captured and being captured on an ongoing basis. By way of context, here's kind of a timeline of the AI field. And what you probably need to know is, I mean, it's been going on for ages, and nothing happened for 20, 30 years. It was super slow. In fact, you'll see there was this, I didn't make this slide. This is a slide that I got on the web, and AI winter is in the middle of it. There was a period of about 20 years where AI couldn't even get funding. It was so down and out. Part of the problem was that early AI was called symbolic AI, where they would literally use text and search for dissimilar things. You know, a cat is not a dog is not a cat. This kind of thing was not very useful. In the 90s, neural networks started to come up, and those were more like today's AI. They were using networks, simulated networks, to spot similarities, do computer vision, etc. But it's only really in the last decade, with the advent of the next generation of those called transformers, that AI has started to actually be useful. And even that was kind of a slow burn until the last year, and then it's just blowing up. As an analogy, I want to actually show a video clip which may seem out of place. It's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So the knight is going to come charging at them, and we actually shorten this clip. So we see him coming, and then a whole lot of nothing. And this is what it was like the last 20 or 30 years of AI. Sounded great, looked great, nothing. And then all of a sudden, there it is. Okay. So without AI, finding video is a big problem. It is a long, massive thing to slog through large amounts of video, typically hundreds of terabytes or petabytes even of content. It often starts out on hard drives. If the cloud is involved, you're uploading and downloading to the cloud or from the cloud. And it's really a needle in a haystack kind of job. But a growing number of people worldwide are faced with this challenge, and it's estimated that there will be a million or so teams doing this kind of work by the end of the decade. So for our part, we've been doing this a while. We have hundreds of high-profile customers. These are some of them, and I'll just highlight briefly a couple of them. RTM is our largest customer anywhere. They're the national broadcaster in Malaysia. They have 14 of their sites deployed with our software, as well as one in their private cloud that essentially aggregates all the AI metadata from the other sites and makes it globally searchable for their staff. That was a really exciting project that we completed last year. And it's been a kind of indicator of where we're headed, because as some of you may know, we started out doing very small systems, little Mac minis and whatnot, small work groups. Over time, there's been a lot of consolidation in our space, a lot of companies getting acquired, bigger companies that do more enterprise MAM. And meanwhile, people are realizing that they don't actually need these enterprise systems when they can get the job done much more efficiently at a work group or aggregated level. Another great customer of ours is Club Bruges. They're the top Belgian soccer club over the last decade, and they use our software for highlights and editing of clips from their both home and away games, again, using a private server. We've built all this in an open architecture way. One of the things that is super clear now, but I think was even somewhat clear a few years ago, is that we're not going to be able to do everything. There need to be REST APIs. There need to be clear integration points so that we can bring in third parties, not only for like editing software, and Patrice will be showing you that in a minute, but also different AI vendors. A 20-something person company can't possibly cover all of the possible use cases and specializations that are going to happen in AI. So we have the ability to bring in third parties. We already integrate with Microsoft Video Indexer, with Speechmatic, speech transcription, and more. And we're going to be expanding that part of our product set over the next 6 months. Underneath that, we have Axle Tags, which is our own in-house AI, which is super powerful, and Patrice will be showing you that, as well as Connectr, which is our workflow automation tool. And at the core, we have the MAM, which is essentially a smart web server, which presents your browser view, as well as a database that holds all the searchable metadata. I'd like to touch on one further thing before handing it over to Patrice for the demos, which is this concept of edge computing and edge servers. There's been a lot of hype and a lot of uptake of cloud computing in the media industry. As mentioned earlier, the majority of our customers still have most of their media and computing on premise, but cloud is getting increasingly popular as well. Edge computing is a kind of more nuanced thing, which says, yes, it's great to have the cloud, but it's also really helpful to have computers that can not only talk to the cloud, but also talk to your in-house systems and networks. And of course, this has applicability in many walks of life, including embedded computing. But what we're interested in is using these edge processors, which are extremely powerful, to handle most of the capabilities of our AI, so that you don't have to upload your material to the cloud and expose your content potentially to scraping from generative AI algorithms or things like that. The more privacy and the more power we can deliver to our customers on premise, while still kind of being able to bring in those cloud capabilities, the better it is we feel for everyone. And so here's what a modern edge server looks like. Typically, it will have a very powerful CPU, in this case, Intel. These can handle what in the past would have taken very large server farms. And then also the ability to have GPUs, in this case, NVIDIA GPUs, that can handle the AI processing as well. So in one small box, and if need be, as you scale, you can add additional boxes. This thing can talk to your local network, be processing for MAM purposes, all of the database transactions and searching on the main CPU, and then also handling the AI processing and training on the GPU. And these are very affordable. Even a kind of well-equipped box is well under $10,000. And it can also talk to additional cloud services. As mentioned earlier, we've done integrations with Microsoft Video Indexer and Speechmatics, among others. So we see a continuing ecosystem evolving with these different cloud capabilities, but we feel that 80 or 90% of what our customers want to do can be handled on-premise today using this kind of an edge server strategy. And of course, it has direct access to the high-speed storage that would be used for editing. It's also directly accessible to your local workstations. And then those have all the benefits of a 10 gigabit or faster network so that your data can flow freely in-house while still leveraging a lot of the capabilities of the cloud. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Patrice, who's going to show how Axle.ai fits into a typical Premiere editing workflow. We're also going to have other aspects of the demo further on that we'll talk about how you train the AI and then how you do the searches using our MAM capabilities. Patrice?
This is Adobe Premiere Pro. What I'm going to do is basically perform a search on the content. So you may not know, but tonight there will be a televised debate between the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. So I can, for example, search on Newsom, and I will find some media that I have here. And let's say I want to search for Newsom next to a car, and I will filter it down to some to three clips. A self-driving car. Let's take this self-driving car, and you will see that I have the preview here. But underneath this preview, I will have the faces, as more specifically where Gavin Newsom appears. Now, these segments that I will see here has been automatically tagged with the power of AI. So we combed through the video, used face recognition, we trained Gavin Newsom into a model, and we were able to find him in the clip and exactly where it appears in the segment. And what I can do is start to import. And when I look at the video straight into my Premiere here, you will see that I have the marker, and I have also the in and out point preset, which means that I can bring the clip exactly what I wanted. I can expand or collapse, and I can continue to edit. And if I go back to my Axle.ai panel and I decide to search on DeSantis, for example, I will have both persons picked up in different segments, and I will see right here Ron DeSantis talking, and I will be able to import. Now, we search on faces. We provide you also object, necktie, and other things, logos, and speech. Now, after that, it's like you really have a lot of keywords you can search against and import your media. So if I want to talk about here, of anticipation, I'll select this segment and I will import it. And I will be able to bring it over to my sequence. Now that is how we can help with AI filter down the massive amount of data that you can have. We are talking about petabytes of data. And with that, I will hand it over back to Sam. I see some questions. These videos are on my storage here. They are local to my storage, managed by Axel, and with tags, I was able to get the media. And here is one of the footage that I have used. And these footages have been analyzed with AI, tagged, and I can now find them very quickly. Sam, over to you.
Thanks, Patrice. I think a key thing here is that, and I mentioned it in the comments section as well, this technology is evolving pretty much in real time. And we see like huge benefits, especially as it matures. So what we're trying to do is be on the leading edge, but hopefully not the bleeding edge, and we can supply things like transcription, for instance, are very, very good now. When we started doing transcription 2, 3 years ago, it was a little rocky, and a lot of the punctuation was off, and a lot of the words were wrong. It was probably 80, 85% accurate. That has now made its way up to 90, 95% accurate, to where it's really quite usable. And in fact, with a little bit of cleanup, you can even use it potentially for captioning in some cases. So that's just over a 3-year period. We see similar evolution, very rapid evolution with the face recognition stuff, object recognition, logo recognition. And so Patrice is going to be showing how that works in our system with the current set of tagging tools. It's called Axle tags. Back over to you, Patrice, to kind of show how Axle tags can be trained and analyze the content.
So I brought over the web browser. Any modern web browser will be able to load the interface, but that is really local. Now we have integrated with AI technologies in the cloud. It's great because they have all the GPUs in the world that you can tap into, but that will mean sending your footage to the cloud. And with all the generative AIs and all the servers that are out there scraping to generate AI models and generate some new AI content, not everybody want to do that. And that was pretty clear for a lot of our customers that there are two problems with the cloud model that they are seeing. And again, the technology is great, but two problems. One is they don't want to send their media to the cloud, so we run everything on premise. That being said, we are not Amazon, we're not Microsoft. They have a lot of engineers working on some problems that we are not working on, so we integrate with them as well. But not having to upload your media to the cloud means it stays on premise, and you don't have to pay per hour of footage analyzed. Going back to the interface here, you will see here I have some of the video analyzed, and if I were to take, for example, this clip here to open it, you will see that I will have the uh, segments of where Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis appear in my footage. Here he appears on a small thumbnail. If I click on the green dot, you will see Gavin Newsom talking, giving an interview. So you can clearly see where each of them appear in the footage. And we do the same thing for the logos if there were any logos picked up, and we do the same thing for the object. So going to the object, I would be able to see where where each object is located. Now again, we try to give you the tools to do a control F or do a search by words on your video. And that's really what we are trying to do here. Now, how do I get to the point of training Gavin Newsom or Ron DeSantis? Well, I will go now to the area here for people. And what we have in the hopper would be really to do the same workflow for logos and objects. Some sport venues or organizations, they will have different logos they want to show. And same thing with object. I was answering a question earlier where I was saying the AI is really helpful as much as it gives you the information you need. And so for object, we have a library of roughly 3,000 objects in Axle tags, but you may not care about the license plates, the tail light or a car. What you may want to see will be different animal species. So we are adding this to a future release of Axle tags. But right now I'm going to focus on the tagging here for the people. And it's very simple. All I'm going to do is create a new person, and we're going to create a football player from the Premier League. So we are going to create Adam Webster, and I have this new person ready to be taught. And you will see it is going to go relatively quickly. I prepare a set of pictures. 15, 20 is good. More than that starts to not yield more results in terms of accuracy. That being said, if I'm following an actor from a young age to an older age, you may want to actually have more pictures based on a different decades that they show up. And we are going to select all these pictures and drag and drop. And that's it. My training is done. And here I have a Webster trend. We're going to include a profile picture. And now basically, if I were to send the clip to be analyzed, it will tag with everything new that it knows. So I'm going to select the upload button here. I'm not going to bore anybody with a video analysis. It's going to take some time. So what we are going to do is simply grab a picture here that I have, and we are going to analyze this picture. But the concept of what we are going to find here is going to be the same. So here I have this picture has been picked up with Adam Webster detected, the Brighton Football Club logo detected on the jersey, and for the object I have the soccer ball, I have the short pants, and I have socks that have been picked up. And we apply this concept to the videos on a frame-by-frame basis, and this is how we get the segments where, while I see the football rolling around, and I will be able to tag from point A to point B where the football is. I see the face of Adam Webster, and I can follow him, and from point A to point B, tell you where he is in a video. So that's the analysis, that's the training. What you can also do is let me jump to this clip, for example, where I have again Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom. And I'm going to go to the details here where I will see all the faces that have been picked up that I can potentially tag. For example, I could include the president here, Joe Biden. But what I want to show you is basically jumping to Gavin Newsom here, or maybe Ron DeSantis, where you will see that I have some moments where I was not sure it was Ron DeSantis. And what I can do in simple click is basically confirm it is Ron DeSantis and broaden, fine if you want, the tagging in the segments of the videos. Sometimes I can turn my face and we pick up, but we cannot say with confidence based on the model that it is indeed Ron DeSantis, but we think it is, so we show you because we group everything together, and we are looking into more contextual AI to help with keeping that in, with basically tagging even further for you. But in simple clicks, I will go for. Yeah, so that's basically the training and the analysis. Another thing that I would like to show you with the Axle tag interface is basically what I can do. Say I've been doing it for 2 years and now I have a new person, a new face, and I have to go through all my videos back. Well, what you want to do here is the untrained section here. And what I'm going to do is take here, that's too bad. Let me take Jimmy Fallon, where I can basically find here multiple clip where Jimmy Fallon appears, different clip, different segments, and I can tag all at once. And I can do the same thing for right here, Gavin Newsom, where I will see in different interviews, different settings here, and I'll be able to select all and tag Gavin Newsom. Couple click, tag multiple videos. Do not have to open the video. I do not have to type the name. I do not have to do anything, really. Just couple click, and suddenly I have more. I have tagged multiple video across my library. And that was a presentation of Axle tags. With that, back over to you, Sam.
Thanks, Patrice. So let's talk a little bit about Axle AI itself. It is basically a MAM. It runs on a server, anything from a Mac Mini all the way up to big rack mount servers. And typically, you can think of it as like a web server with a search layer, Elasticsearch on top of it, so that there's a browser interface and you can go find your material and manage it. The contrast with other MAMs is that historically MAMs have been big, bulky pieces of software, typically enterprise software. And a number of my colleagues and I used to work at Avid, where we were responsible for supporting and developing these things. And it always struck me that to really build for the future, it needed to be a lot more lightweight, that the systems had to be smaller, use fewer resources, be less complex to deploy. And with the advent of AI, I think that's really been borne out because we're now able to integrate all these new technologies on a lightweight basis at modest cost, whereas legacy MAM companies are still trying to kind of do everything. And with that, I think I'll turn it back to Patrice, who can show you kind of what the user interface is like for the MAM.
All these yellow tags that you will see in my storage, in my network drive, I have asked my Axle system to index. And what we do is simply reflect the content of your drive, show you on the left side the different folders that we see, and when we pick up media, we are going to generate a preview right here. So, and that preview is the one we are going to be analyzing with the AI, which means that if you have a large footage, MXF files, RED files, B-roll, or anything else, because we converted beforehand, you will not have a format issue in terms of what is being tagged with Axle AI. And you will see the different previews that we have created, and I can jump, again, let's take this clip here. I will be able to jump on the preview that we generate with Axle and see basically what have been tagged. Speech, you will see what is being said, and I can search against it right here. Faces, the same interface that we have seen in Premiere Pro panel, I will be able to see it right here inside the Axle main interface. So that will be the MAM and the object. And all this data is searchable, and we can trigger it either automatically or it's a manual process where I can go and analyze the video one by one. It really depends on what you're looking for. We have basically each options from our customer base. I want to analyze everything and I don't care, or I want to be sure to analyze only what I need, because if I have cameras shooting at the grandstands of my stadium, I don't really care about the AI on that one. And basically, thanks to all this information that I have, I can also tag manually. So I have AI information and I have human tagging, where I can say, or let me actually say it will start in November 2nd, and I will enter some information and keyword, choose from a drop-down menu, so you can create your own set of data field. Now with the human tagging and AI, I will be able to find my clip very quickly. And that's what we do with Axle. And I have a search engine, Google style search. So if I do new sum and I will find all these clips, and then I say car, and I can even say, okay, let's do a self-driving car. So I can continue to filter down until I find what I need inside my system. But what do I do with this footage? Well, there are different things that we can do, and that's where we have Connectr. Uh, Without Connectr, what we can do is also create subclips. So I can have in and out points, or I can just say, you know what, find me up new sum, and I'm going to add a subclip to a bin, and basically this bin will have the content of your media with in and out points that you can then send to your NLE of choice. That's more manual than what we have showed you earlier, but we still have that. Going back here to this footage, so we can do that. But more importantly, I can send it to Connectr. Now let me just load, since we had a let me just load another workflow first. So to give you a little bit an idea as to what Connectr is and what Connectr can do. So it's a workflow automation tool. Basically, you can draw the diagram. You should be able to do it within Connectr. Based on rules, conditions, or other triggers, I will perform tasks and repetitive tasks. In this case, we are going to call Connectr to maybe trim the clip, or convert to 1080p, or send it to Dropbox, or make a verified copy. I have these 4 functions that are right here available. And so from my Axle system now, I could potentially just go here, select the in and out point, and say, hey, let's convert to 1080p. And that will basically send the clip right here, and you will see the FFmpeg transcode going to generate a 1080p version of my file with in and out points. So I trim the clip, convert to 1080p, and place it somewhere. So by doing so, we try to be not in the same we try to not be completely locked in the feature set that we create. If we try to do too much, there are chances that we will not support every custom buttons that we do for customers. And so this is it. That's where your custom buttons will be here, which means that we have a shrink wrap, cost-effective MAM solution for you, where we can go and tailor based on your needs. We talked about importing data from Kino. This is something we can do as well. By simply replacing the project that I have here, I will be able to have another option. And I do not necessarily need to get any data, anything from Axel to trigger it, but we still have the option, and I'll show you here, import Kino data. I could go and import the data from Kino, and we can do that from a folder or even from a bin where I have my in and out point set. I could then call a Connectr workflow. So that's what we are doing. We have AI tagging capabilities that you can train and do the tagging on a basically file management system, like with Axle MAM, where I can also tag myself, have combined human tagging and AI tagging together and get results that I can either reuse in Premiere, or I can also generate FCP XML or other type of XML that I will need. Or like I mentioned a couple of times in the chat already, or the question and answer, we also have a companion app in the work that will integrate with DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro 10, Avid Media Composer, and so on. So all of that is there. And if you need more, we have Connectr that can automate a lot of work that you can have. It can go from ingest. I mean, just to give you an idea, this is the kind of categories that I can do. Connect to a database, perform events, file manipulation, image manipulation, movie transcoding, FTP upload, read an Excel spreadsheet, and also do some coding if I wanted to. So there is a lot of different things that you can do with Connectr, which also means that if you need Axle MAM to integrate with QC or publishing platforms, you do not need to wait for us and the other vendor to get together, perform the work, and deploy a solution for you. You can simply have Connectr do it for you. Typically, we will help you get to this point, but people who actually need to make some changes, it's very easy to do because it's a very visual interface that you have here. I hope I answered the question about the whole big picture workflow, and if we need to be tagging a little bit more, if we need to train new people or new objects and logos when the feature will be available, I can go back to this interface and review. And with that, Sam, back over to you.
I think the majority of our customers will have storage already. I'd say a fraction of our customers are buying new storage when they get Axle installed, but probably two-thirds of them already have the storage, and they'll say, I have 300 terabytes, or I have 100 terabytes, or increasingly, they'll say, I have a petabyte of material, and they'll want to point Axle at that resource. We don't need to copy it into Axle, and you don't need to get the material from Axle. You're still getting it from your storage. What Axle is doing is acting kind of like an add-on brain to the system, doing the cataloging, pointing at the storage, and basically telling you where certain files are so that you can get your job done faster.
Sorry to jump in. Someone was asking before about the creation of smart filters. So Patrice, if you could maybe show an advanced search and how you turn that into a automatically updated
Absolutely.
filter.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So, uh, So just like Sam mentioned, let's imagine for a second that this network drive is my network storage. I have all my media. I reached the capacity of my brain probably 20 years ago, but I reached a high capacity of my brain. I cannot remember where things are, and I need to basically get help to find my media. So we are going to use the Axle MAM solution to tell it, hey, you know this folder? I would like you to tell me what is inside. And I have different folders. We can do whole volumes as well. And while you're at it, Axel, when you find media, please create me an H.264 so that I can play it in my web browser. And here we have a modern HTML5 web browser, any modern, any one, really. Um, and you will see on the left side the different uh, folders that can jump into, have the previews. And let's go toward the advanced search features. So we have the search. I showed you the simple one. By clicking on the lens, I can actually create very complex queries. And I can say, for example, find me axle faces that contains Newsome, for example, and show me only videos. And I can add more fields such as, oh, the modification date is greater than or less than. And I will be able to add more and more requirements. But the idea is we help you find your media. Let's take location, and I will say it would be San Francisco. And let's actually perform the search. And I found these files here based on my search query that we have translated at the top here. So I have Newsome in the actual faces. You will see here the little icon that tells me Gavin Newsome. And I have the location here with San Francisco. 5 file found. What I'm going to do, because we were talking about the smart filters, and I'm going to save the search. What I'm saving is a search query, not the result. So we offer you couple already, such as by date, by approval status. We have a small traffic light system for the approval. But here we are going to focus on the search I've just created here, Newsome in San Francisco. Now I'm very certain I already tagged all of them San Francisco, 5 files found for Newsome. So let's actually update one. We're going to take the debate gear up, and what I'm going to do is update the location to, let's say, New York. And here we go. The location has been updated to New York. If I go back to the smart filter now, you will see that I still have 5 files. Oh, I made a mistake in my search. So let's do over. I can tell you that I made greater than. So I made a small mistake. Let's start over. So I'm going to do axle faces contains Newsome. And I will add location equals to San Francisco search. Now I found only my 4 files, and we are going to save this search. Newsome in SF_v2. Right. And we're going to remove the other one that I made a mistake. There we go. So here I have 4 files. Now let's look for Newsome. And this particular file where I tagged to New York, I'm going to update the tag to San Francisco. And now you will see that I have now my 5 files around. So this is the smart filter that we have created here. Now again, from the search result, I can do different things. I could select one or multiple files. I could send them to Connectr based on what I have. I could add them to bin. So we're going to select these 3 files and say, add these 3 files to the audio trim bin, for example. And I have these 3 files added. So there are different things that we can do from there. Oh, I could simply do my copy and paste search straight for Premiere. I want to find the exact same search. Here we go. And I have my 5 clip coming up. And I can look at the files go over and say, okay, where do I have the flag? Because where you see it here. Let's go back to the faces. That's much easier to see this and this and import. So I hope that answered the question for the smart filters. Is the smart filter learning over time? Oh, great question. The smart filter is really not really tied to AI. We are saving queries here. So basically, if you do searches on faces, yeah, it's going to learn, it's going to improve, and it's going to update, right? Because you're going to have more and more. But we are not going to teach from the smart filter. What the interface to teach is really done here on the other Axle tags interface for the AI.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that the search gets reapplied whenever you
Yeah.
run it. So, like I think Patrice was implying that. So, like a week later, if there's a bunch more files that meet the criteria, they will pop up in the search. But to his point, it's not any smarter about it than it was the week before. What could be smarter is the AI generating the metadata. So if you get better AI or more human tagging over that time, then that same search is not just going to find new stuff, but may also find stuff that was there the first time that hadn't been adequately tagged back then. And actually that goes to a theme. We've got about 8 minutes left, but I want to talk about how quickly this technology is maturing. If you use cloud AI right now, there are a lot of gotchas. One of them is that it's quite expensive. It's about $10 per hour of footage, but also it's a one-shot deal. You get to run it with whether it's Amazon Recognition or Microsoft Video Indexer. You're running it right now, and that's it. If you want to come back in 18 months when all the algorithms are better, you're going to have to pay that $10 an hour all over again. Whereas with our system, you're basically paying a monthly cost, kind of all you can eat to run the services on your system. And as new files come in or if new capabilities come in, then you can rerun those things without paying an hourly metered rate. It does give you a different approach to this. And even with our system, though, we run into situations where people need specialized AI, particular kinds of sports highlights, particular kinds of wildlife, if they're documentarian, stuff like that, where it's just a little more than what our software can currently do. And our best recommendation is, hey, let's keep talking because 6 months from now, this stuff is going to be significantly better, 12 months, 18 months. You could stretch and you could probably try and build something today, but there is so much between open source and commercial tools. There's so much good new stuff coming onto the market that it's a safe bet that if the problem isn't solvable today, it will be reasonably soon. And so that's really how our system gets smarter is newer and better algorithms rather than I think right now the learning is not built into the search capability. Hope that makes sense. Now, Patrice, we did have some questions from Franco Science. He was saying, could you show video links for reviewers, download links, and can you create playlists and store searches and save them as links? Uploading, we have a number of ways to do that, but maybe just kind of show that whole review and sharing capability.
Absolutely. Basically, from the video footage I have, I can share a clip. I forgot to mention that everything I've been demoing has been local, that we anticipate most of our customers to be local, but some of them, and it's more and more true, are getting more distributed. And so you have the possibility to open up your web browser interface either via VPN or reverse proxy to the internet. And we have workflows for downloading low-res proxies, editing proxies, uh, and edit from them. But here's a shared link which you will be able to basically access and review. Uh, so I will be able to play the video. I can post a comment and I can change the approval. I apologize, it's in another language now. I was doing a demo earlier, but here's the hello there with a typo that is not another language. But if I go back now to the clip, you will see that the approval has been updated here to yes. And for the comment, I have my hello there with the typo. Good thing because I have another one without a typo, so it would have been very confusing here. But so that's the idea of review and approval that we have. Another thing we can do is integrate with Axledit. It's our collaborative video editing. which has great sharing capabilities. 4 minutes in, I don't think I will have a lot of time to show you. And let's see what I can do. But you will have the possibility to log in and get to the sharing aspect. I jump in, have, for example, this clip here that I want to share. I can actually share 2 clips. Let's do this sharing. And there you will have the possibility to let them download, approve, create an expiration date, but all of that pretty neat because then you have a really in-depth with multiple comments ready and multiple level of approval going. So, and with Axledit, you can integrate with your main Axle.ai server and find your media that is on your server, local server, and have it available in the cloud. Axledit is cloud-based. Can you annotate on screen? That would be a great feature.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet, yes. But yeah, that's something we have heard a couple of times, and I think it's just people getting used to nice pen on frame .io. But that's a great feature. Yeah.
Something that I think would be cool to show briefly, because there were a couple of questions about this, is the way the transcription looks in Axel and how it's actually marking the in and out points.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go to the Axel page right here, the transcription. By the way, we have multiple languages that we can integrate with, so you can do that. But here is the in and out points that you have. And I can export my SRT and bring it to Premiere if I wanted to. I can easily edit. So for example, here did not really catch the last name, use some for automatic transcription, so I can update and save. And now I have Gavin Newsom corrected. And you can easily play one or multiple transcript on screen as your review. But that's basically how it will look in Axel.
All right. Well, I think we're at the end of the hour, and it's been great. And we've had a ton of questions, over 30 questions. So you guys totally kept up with the morning session. Excellent feedback and great attendance on both as well. You know, we've hundreds of people attending these things. So we're probably going to set up a series. I think there's an opportunity to provide more information, answer more questions. And again, the industry is evolving quickly enough that by the next time we give this, there will probably be some new information and new capabilities to show. Thank you all for joining. My email is sam@axle.ai, axle.ai, and Patrice is Patrice at Axle.ai. Elisa is Elisa at axle.ai. We look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to contact us with any questions or any way that we can be helpful.
And we will be sending out around a recording of this to everyone, so keep that in mind. Thank you so much for joining.